out, let's let everybody know about our inspirational journal. So excited.
Discussing, but
yeah,
even in that, it's only been 3, but it just feels like so much, and I feel like she's so familiar because she's so easy to speak to.
and I told her, I was like, yo, I'm so thankful that you're in Tammy's life, because I feel like you got to an intersection in your life where you were kind of ready you had like a yearning to express. You've been wanting to write a book. You've spoken about this in bits and pieces here and there, but you were primed to have your voice heard at this point in juncture in time, but you needed the push, the fire, the battery in your back from someone who's been down the very same road and can say, listen, I will be the light down this dark path you're about to travel. You don't need to worry about a thing, and I'll let you know what's normal. Everything you're feeling is normal. Let me put language to the certain things that maybe you've been struggling with, that you've had shame or disgrace or suppressed, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so she is kind of like a guide. I'm like, yo, you're like an angel in her life right now. Like, I'm so happy that you said yes to your healing.
I'm 1,000% with you. It's like you're putting words to exactly how I felt, because it's just like the safety net that was necessary. I don't see that I would have been able to express so openly. And so like I there's been no holdback, because it's just like I'm talking to myself almost. And my introduction to her was what she shared on Sunrise's podcast. So as I, so that was the entry point to begin with. And I was like, oh my God, she is me. Oh my God, she is me. Like, she's really putting words to how I felt.
Okay, so that's another thing. I didn't know the chronological time frame of how you met and when you saw her podcast. I thought you met her first and then she told me, no, you made a comment on the Friday podcast and met her on the Sunday. I was like, what? Like, that blew my mind.
And I even that. Girl, even me making the comment, because I think I was a bit more expressive than I normally would be, and that, like, I forget what it was. And it may not have been, like, you may see it and be like, oh, that's normal. But for me, it's so big in that, I was able to connect and verbalize that, and had no idea that she was going to be at this Sunday brunch.
You lying.
I had no idea. Like, we didn't know who was coming. We didn't know. We did not know who was coming. And to tell you the truth, it was more of a, well, I know my girls are going to be there. Like, I don't know what else, what other family members, because we've been to, things at her house before, but it's been more so of a family gathering. And those people we know for the most part, So to be introduced to a world of just fabulosity, like the fabulousness that was just oozing out of that room was just so freaking amazing. It was so amazing. Like, I just felt like I was amongst power. Like, these women were, you could tell that they were about their business, know? And when I say that they were about their business and still being able to connect on a level of either wanting more or not feeling like they're doing everything that they can do with themselves at different points. So it was just that connection, the yearning for that spirituality. The business sense was, educators were linking, it was just a mosh of just like, wow, I want more of this.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I'm usually not that open, but I was like, I just felt so safe with her. And then it was just like a place of safety to begin with, with what we were seeing and what, she broke the ice with her having the karaoke off, between the two groups of women. So when I saw Linda, even I think at that point we were leaving because we connected and I was like, how you doing? But it was more surface, right? And before the break off, because some people had to leave, so everybody wasn't leaving at that moment, but people started to move to go home. And I just felt like I need to let her know. I was like, let me tell you, girl. And that's when she was like, come on, let's go and talk. Like she took me over and we sat on the couch and we teared a little bit. And that's when she was like, listen, I'm down for it. Like this was the healing for me. Maybe this can be that for you. Let's meet on, we went through the schedules. I told her that I work in the evenings on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Right. And the reason why I landed on a Wednesday was because that Tuesday I was getting my hair done. So I was like, oh, I can't do it the Tuesday, so let's do it Wednesday. And so now it's every week, on the Wednesday at 10 o'clock. It's just been so.
I love.
When you ask God, man, because I've been asking, like, God, I'm ready. Please show up for me.
When you started asking God for that, by the way.
Oh man. Definitely before the transitioning of the new year, I would say. I beat myself up a lot of times when I don't journal, because my journal sometimes makes me remember like, oh yeah, it was this far back or whatever. But I would say like a few months, I've really been yearning and letting God know that, I know that I've been uncomfortable and I've been running away from this discomfort, but just bring it, just like I'm ready for it. Like I want to be broken, I
Wow.
want to be able to experience something different. And here she comes, here she comes. And I think I was watching all of Sunrise's podcast, but even me doing the podcast with Sunrise, that was like setting me up for that.
Totally did. It primed you perfectly for it.
Really did. Because I don't think I would have been so open and just like, all right, let's do it.
No coincidences. It's all serendipity as far as this year, late last year. Once you asked, God opened up the floodgates. It's amazing and prepared you to handle it, to manage it, gave you the tools you needed, which is so important.
It's so important.
Yeah, we need to be prepared for what we pray for.
Yes.
Holy shit, we can really be taken on a ride, So, it's a blessing to witness it with you, because I know your heart, and it's one of the kindest hearts I have the privilege and honor of knowing. I can't believe that I share such an amazing and special bond with someone with such a heart. I love that for me. It feels so good. I feel amazing to have.
Oh my God. You and me are in that same space. And I love the fact that we're so open to express that to one another, because I think there may be a lot of situations where, people take for granted how close the relationships are for them. And they just don't express it because it's just something that, that's there. But I love that we can recognize it, and, we honor that in one another. And I love that because, girl, you are my safe space. You are my freaking safe space. Like the first person that comes to mind when I want to be able to just kind of unleash.
Finally getting back to me, my art. All I want to do is art. And the other thing is that I love stories. So like, to me, art is in everything. Your art is your voice, your speaking, your connection. You can feel everyone's energy. That's your art. It's the art of living to me. So art and hustle to me is the art of living, and art of it and everything.
I hope that you've cut that piece right there and make it your intro and your outro, because that was dope.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning from my cold garage.
I see. Is that a scarf you have on?
Yes, because I was like, should I take it off? But I'm like, yo, I'm sick. So I think I'm gonna keep my scarf on.
Let's keep it real.
I'm gonna keep it real. Like,
getting over my cold, and I was like,
Um,
I might need to move this freaking whole thing to like my bedroom or something, just so
oh
warm.
man, I didn't know that you were still struggling with the cold.
Yeah, it's I feel a little bit better today,
Okay,
but
good.
it's still like it's like in my head part.
It's nasal.
Yeah, it's like nasally now, so I sound like a nasally person. But it's not gonna stop, the
That's
hustle.
right. That's
Not gonna
it.
stop the hustle. Welcome to the Artandhustle Gallery of Conversations. We have our tea.
We have our tea. I
We-
noticed it when you did the podcast with Regine. I said, oh, she has a cup.
I know. I
She
think
has a
I
mug.
think I think I ordered it as soon as we got off the thing. I'm like, I can't go on another one with Tam without my cup, so we can
That's right. That's right.
Thinking of a master plan 2023, Tam.
As
Welcome
it's
to week 4.
week 4, we are here.
Yes. So I want you to spill the tea. I just did a podcast with your beautiful friend, Regine. Tell me what you guys talked on after the Zoom.
It's kind of like you, like we just talk and finish and like question, like, what did we just talk about? What just happened?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it being recorded.
Exactly.
So I sent it to her, but for some reason, I'm not the most techie person. It's not, it said that it was in my trash can. I sent it to her again last night. So I'm waiting to hear if she has access. But I would love for her to watch it before we actually debrief, because there's just so many things that happen.
Yeah.
We kind of gloss over at times because we're just so in the moment and just chatting as girlfriends.
I love it. I mean, if you guys are down with it, I would love to air it on the podcast.
Oh shoot, I'm gonna forward it to you. Okay, because I had to send it through the Google Drive. It was too much.
Have you ever used WeTransfer.com?
No.
WeTransfer.com is free unless as long as 2 gigabytes, you can send anything free.
Okay.
To any email.
Transfer.com.
WeTransfer.com. Send any files under 2 gigabytes for free. And you can sign up, you can not sign up. Obviously they want you to, but you can also send it without signing up. But I send all my files on there because I feel like it's so much easier than Dropbox and Google Docs and all this stuff. Because you basically get an email, you click on the link. That's it.
Got it. WeTransfer.com.
Yeah. WeTransfer.com.
Oh, I'll try it. And when we finish with our podcast today, I'll send you the raw footage of Regina.
Because that was also one of my beautiful ideas, is that after I've had many conversations with certain people, I feel like those people can basically be the Art and Hustle rep, and then you in turn pass the love and you interview people.
Yes.
And then you bring in all your amazing friends that you love to chat with, because there's nothing like friends talking.
Because it's just so authentic.
It's authentic, and then that connection translates to the camera. Because I can talk to your friends, but unless me and your friends have a chemistry, sometimes it doesn't translate to the camera. I mean, beautifully, me and Regine worked on camera, but not everybody. It doesn't work like that with everybody.
I can see it. I mean, it's all about chemistry. It's all about comfortability.
Yes.
It's what resonates.
Feeling safe.
And that's a big one, right? Feeling safe.
Yeah.
Paramount. But we got off and oh my God, I feel like even the podcast that I watched between you guys, I really should have been taking notes because it was just so much. It was so much.
Yeah.
You guys covered a lot. And I thought that it was so interesting. I was telling Regine, I said, when Linda and I connected, obviously it was because of our experience with sexual abuse, right? But we're so multi-layered, right?
Yeah.
We're multi-layered people, so there's so much more different parts of us that doesn't come out. Depending on who you're speaking to, because you're going to speak to the person that you're connected with on that particular topic, right? And so when you guys started talking about your divorces, I was like, oh my God, so similar, you know, so similar in how I showed up in the relationship. And that, you know, I just started kind of thinking about different events. And realizing that I'm absolutely recycling some of those patterns that I had in my previous marriage with my current relationship.
Yeah, yeah. But that's beautiful that you noticed it and recognize it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Like it was, you know, it's clear as day after like I really give it some thought. But
Mhm.
again, just, you know, the day to day, the routines and the conversations that we have, it just becomes this mush. You know, it doesn't, we don't flesh it out.
Yeah,
It's just that.
yeah.
And so again, I can't begin to express how these weekly conversations and recordings have really put a lot of light to some of the things that I experience.
Mhm.
And to be quite frank, like I haven't been feeling great. I
Mhm.
haven't been feeling great and kind of pushing through it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I'm realizing that I haven't wanted to do the work.
Well, honey, who wants to do this work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
why I'm here to support you because, yo, like I told you, coming on these podcasts is really hard for someone like us. But in general, everybody else doesn't want to come on to speak and expose themselves and put
Yeah.
themselves on camera on those days they're not feeling well. And a lot of the days, like, I have to push myself to be on these camera and these Zooms. As much as like I'm building my page,
Mhm.
it's still hard for me every single time to come on because
Yeah.
you have to put a face on.
Yeah.
You have to get ready. You have to
Yeah.
like get your energy to 100% to get on and be
Yeah.
like, all right, now I'm ready. But like most of the time, I am not 100%. I'm usually like 10%, like at home, not feeling well. Even when I am feeling like not sick, I still
Mhm.
don't feel like I'm that type of person to instantly get on and be on because you have to actually turn your switch on and
Yeah.
get ready. And so I just want to let you know, like, don't worry when you're not in the mood because I am never usually in the mood. And so don't feel bad about that. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, like, you're gonna be sad, you're gonna be happy, you're gonna have the gamut of feelings. And that is the beauty of just the process of it, you know,
Yeah.
like it took me probably a year to stop crying. And before that, I was probably crying for 2 years already.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And you know, I shared with you that I don't think that I've cried
No, you haven't.
or released,
No.
you know, the emotions
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
However, what I have noticed with this unpacking is that I have cried through the events that trigger the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus has been on the event rather than what occurred, right? So example, if I get into it with my kid and I feel like, you know, he is not taking what I'm saying into account,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get angry and I'm frustrated, you know, those emotions are not really attached to the experience that I'm having with my child.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening is him bringing up other emotions. And so when I'm letting loose,
Yeah.
you know, like when I say what I have to say, that badass that comes out,
Yeah.
you know, it's like I'm posturing myself to be that badass because I couldn't be it then. And so I'm using this situation to get, you know, for me to feel empowered,
To defend yourself.
right? To defend myself. And so you know, like I am a crier, you know, like when I get into it, I may not do it in front of the person or in public, but you know, the showers and the bedrooms, they'll tell you stories, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my emotions have been released, but not focusing at the situation
Yeah. Yeah.
that I need to be focusing on.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, because I've been enraged,
Yeah.
you know, I've broken some shit, you know, I've cursed the fuck out of, you know, namely I would say that it would be my ex-husband.
Mm.
You know, that's how I was able to,
Release some
you
of
know,
it.
yeah, release some of it. But still, it's still not speaking to that original pain. So
Yeah.
that's not healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you just
And
kind
that's
of
why,
going
like,
through
us just talking about it, at least you look at it, and the more you talk about it, the less power we'll give it, you know?
yeah.
And I was never a crier before.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't cry. I didn't really like, I just ignored all of it. Just ignored. You know what I mean? Like, you can't survive by thinking about that stuff. And it's only through COVID where, you know, you lose that job that you thought was what you should be doing. And you're like, wow, like, if I'm not doing this anymore, who am I? You know?
Yeah,
And
because we become what we put our attention to. And so it's not just a job, it's Linda in the job.
Mhm,
It's Linda, you know, doing the damn thing in the job. And
mhm.
if you don't have that, then how are you to express, you know, what you feel that you're good at? That attachment is what really kills us.
Yeah.
We become attached and believe that's who we are.
Yeah, there was the safety of it. It's the safety of the salary. It's the safety of, you know, working in the Empire State Building. Everyone's always like, oh, wow, you work in the Empire State Building and this is great. And you're in fashion, you work in the city. Like, it's the prestige of it. It's the facade of all of it that I just kept up. And to, you know, dismantle all of that, you know, you kind of just gotta refigure out everything. And for the longest time, I was not happy, but I just didn't know what else to do. I didn't know
Mhm.
how else to make myself happy,
Yeah.
you know, until you lose all of it. And, you
Yeah.
know, life has a way to like strip you down of everything that you thought that you should be doing, because you're just really pretending. You're not really happy. You're just doing all of it because you think you need to do it. So, and like, I would never have left. I was
Yeah.
comfortable. I would have never left because
Yeah.
I was comfortable. And even though I didn't love it anymore, and I probably was like not fully 100% there,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have left because I'm
Yeah.
still a hard worker. I'm still dedicated no matter what. Like, I'll still show up for you, you know?
Right.
So I had to be pushed
I
out.
think, yeah, and we sometimes we have the universe forces us out, you know, if we don't take that if we don't move ourselves, it'll happen for us. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's not pretty.
Yeah. So
I would say,
sometimes we just have to be pushed.
yeah, I would say a good amount of the times it's not very pretty,
Yeah.
you know, when it has to take something outside of yourself for that action to take place.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little deeper than just not having anything to do, because we really believe that we are that thing in
Yeah.
those moments.
Hmm.
You know, you become that job, you know, like that is who Linda is,
Hmm.
you know. So when we lose it, it's just like, who am I really?
Yeah.
You know?
Hmm.
One of the things that I remember Regine sharing in your podcast is that was it in your podcast or was it our conversation? I can't even remember, because I told her, I was like, these crossovers, these crossovers, it gets a bit confusing because it's like the same conversation happening, right? An extension of that same conversation.
Hmm.
But she shared that when she was doing the work for herself, it was when she would be in the moments of discomfort that she would really stop herself and start peeling the layers and start asking her questions, you know, the hard questions.
Hmm.
What is it really about? What is it? And 99.9% of the time, it would be because we just don't feel enough,
Yeah.
you know? And I think once I heard that, and I was like, you know what, I really need to extend this conversation, because my next question is, so that I can have some insight, is once you realize like what that core is, with you not feeling enough or not being safe or whatever it is that comes up, like what is the next step?
Yeah, once you recognize it, then you have to just go deeper into it of like what event happened. Like what happened that made you feel that way? So like instantly I started trying to go deeper. Like if there's a situation that happened with somebody and I get really upset and I start crying and I'm like, why am I crying? You know, I'm like,
Mhm.
what is this related to? I don't think it's this situation. So I went deeper. I'm like, what is it? And so like I had a friend who was supposed to come by and visit, and they didn't come by, and they just said like, no, I'm not coming. And instantly I just felt rejected, not enough, they're not taking the time for me. And I'm like, what? This is just too much just for someone saying they can't make it, right? It's not that they don't love you, then not that they can't visit you.
Yeah.
Like, so then I sat with it for some, like, this has to be connected to some event that happened. So I sat there and I realized it was when my mom went to China for 6 months, maybe 3 months, and I would be left alone. He would rape me any chance he would at night. And that would happen multiple times, I feel like a week. And that's when she's gone. So can you imagine like how much, like at least it must have been weekly. So add the weekly to from age 5 to 15. It happened at least weekly, if not once, if not twice, but then when she's gone. So that feeling, I realized it was from that event, because before it was always like, I hate him. I hate him. I hate, you know, like he's the one who makes me feel this way. I can't trust him because of him. And then I'm like, and then people were like, no, you have to look into your mom. And because I was not safe because she was gone. So nobody was able to protect me. She wasn't able to protect me. You know, like nobody, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel loved. Those are like early childhood memories. So abandoned, like all of it's connected to all of that. So that's when you realize, okay, it's connected to that. And then like you need to realize like, no, you are loved. Unfortunately, that was a situation that happened, but it's not connected to the present day. You just realize,
that's the part, that's the part that I'm having a hard time with. Like I can peel the layers. I know where it's coming from. I know where the hurt is coming from. And with this information, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the next step is for me for it not to hurt, or for it not to have that impact, or for me not to be angry anymore. You know, how do I get out of that anger part of this process?
You have to literally get fucking angry, like really angry about it and really upset about it. Like maybe part of you was never able, like I was never able to express that anger. I was never able to express any sort of emotions because so like us as children, none of that was able to be expressed. So we're not used to expressing it.
And it's double, it's like a double punch, because I wanted to express, but I couldn't express because of the culture that I'm in. If there was a certain expression that I had, it was seen as being disrespectful.
Yes. Yeah. Same thing in Asian culture. Like if you make any sort of different face, you're getting the shit beat out of you.
Yeah.
The tone of your voice, the look of your face, none of it was able to be expressed because you get.
And those swift hits with the back of your hand where you're just sitting there and don't expect it. It's just like, holy shit, what just happened? You know, so what happens now, on top of everything, you are, this is where the disguise comes on. Well, if I do this, I'm going to get hit. If I say this, I'm going to get in trouble. If I express this, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So you learn how to keep yourself in a box,
straight faced,
as you're, like you said, we're hyper vigilant. We're watching everything that comes, and it's just the way that the survival takes place.
Yeah.
We have to move through the world so that we can continue to keep ourselves safe.
Yeah. So during this time, don't try to do anything really. Just feel it and sit through it. Like, don't try to like fix it, because that's naturally what we always have done. We have an event. Okay, how can I fix it? How can I move through it? So these uncomfortable feelings that you're having, it's okay. Don't try to fix it right now. This is not the time to fix it. You have to just sit through it.
And it's the hardest thing ever.
It is the fucking hardest thing to sit through any of this uncomfortable thing. But unfortunately, that's what you have to do, because we didn't sit through it before.
Mhm.
We had to fucking bury it in a fucking grave and then just walk away.
Yeah.
We didn't grieve it, we didn't feel it, we didn't cry in that fucking like graveyard. No, we just walked away.
Yep.
So unfortunately, you have to just sit through it right now and just give yourself time and give yourself grace. Just don't do anything but sit through it and just go through it, feel it, and just keep doing it and keep doing it. And eventually it will get better. You don't
I-
have to do
I believe-
anything but sit through it right now. So don't try to fix it.
Just, yeah, it's, when you're so accustomed to just working off of autopilot,
Yeah.
really learning how to put those hard brakes on. I didn't realize so much of my actions, because I'm constantly, it's always on, the discomfort.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm waiting for something to make me uncomfortable if I am comfortable. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just that constant. And so, because it's always on, even when those events happen, those triggers come about, I don't even realize that my actions are actually actions to avoid the feeling that I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went to my hairdresser the other day, and on Saturday, was it? Yeah, during the weekend. And we chit-chat, and she was asking questions about how the new year was, and do you do resolutions and things of that sort. So I told her that some of the things that I've been working on, and that I want to be a more effective communicator. And I started doing this podcast with this young lady that I met, that has been really powerful for me. And so, for whatever the reasons were, there was a reluctancy for me to continue to share.
Mm-hmm.
But, I went on and said, the connection that we have is that we were sexually abused. And instantly, as those words left my mouth, I felt disempowered.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the actual words of those are horrific. You know what I mean? It's horrific. And I never wanted to say those words before because of that kind of feeling. And when I used to start to share it, I would have instant like regret of, oh my God, did I share too much? Like that was too much for them. Like, why did I share it? And it's too heavy for them. And I would feel uncomfortable because I would feel uncomfortable for myself, but I also feel uncomfortable of them too, of like, how do they feel? Because as a child, you're constantly also like worried about how someone else is feeling to not be in trouble and not to, so it's instantaneous. And it's unfortunately the auto download that we were fed, so you're still going to feel those feelings just because that's what was downloaded to us. So it's going to take a minute. It will take a minute. Those feelings will come back, but just know that that's just the auto programming that was fed to you. This is not the person that you are turning into. It's just the uncomfortable part of it that you have to go through. And the more habitual that you start changing and talking and like disempowering those words and just talking about it and letting out, like eventually the habits will change and your auto programming will change to the better. But it takes a while. And like I told Regine, where like there are a lot of days where I just want to go back to the auto programming and just be a bitch and be an asshole and do all the stupid shit and trauma, like outsourcing of trauma that I used to do, because I know that will make me feel better. Because I don't know, it's kind of like a revenge thing. Like, oh, you did this to me, so I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you feel good in the moment. I know it makes me feel good in the moment.
Yeah.
But I know that, in hindsight, there hasn't been a situation where I don't reflect and be like, wow, I could have really been different in this.
Yeah, I'll have regret. I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I should have been a better person. That's not me. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. And I read something this morning where I think it was Dr. Tony Evans. He shared, God knows when you're doing things not to get in trouble and when you just want to do it because you're doing it for the love. You know, like you want to do things so that you don't have to face certain consequences. And so just like a child, you know, you tell the child, well, if you do all of your homework, then at the end of the week, I'll buy you some ice cream. You know, so
The reward system.
it's the reward system. And so for me, I'm looking to be intentional about connecting to those intrinsic parts.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, what might come if I go that, you know, it's like that good girl syndrome. Like, I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to, even though I don't like it, I hate this damn job, but I'm going to be the best at it. You know, this relationship is not the best for me, but I'm going to show up, and I'm going to be the best wife that I feel that I can be, you know, but it never pans out because you're not doing it for the love, or you're not
doing it from a place of, I want to do it because this is what I want to do. Yeah, it's not coming from a genuine place of, you're doing it for them because you feel like you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because you have to
do it.
You have to be nice. You have to not go there because it's going to make somebody else feel uncomfortable. You know, it takes a while. And the people around you has to also get used to this new person that you're evolving into and unpacking all of this. You know, it takes a while. So you just have to give yourself grace while you're going through it. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And it's okay. You know, I'm here. Just keep venting away. You know, just keep venting away, because it takes a long time. Because how long did your abuse happen for?
I remembered from maybe 9 to 13, 9 to 13 or 14.
And the last time you told me your abuser was, and then cut off a little bit, so I couldn't fully hear, like, your abuser is your...
It was a family member's husband.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a family member's husband. And I remember that before the major event where I had to actually stay at the house during that summer, I can remember, you know, I remember watching OPRAH, and I remember her sharing, like, there's this, how did she explain it? It's like this, you know, like they put on this, I'm your friend and I'm playing.
Grooming you. They're grooming.
Yeah, they're setting you up, you know?
Yeah.
And I can remember, like, there was one day, I remember I was in my mom's bedroom, laying in the bed in the house. And I have a big family. So it was very common for different people to be in different rooms. We had a really, really large apartment on Linden Boulevard. It was like 4 bedrooms. We lived in the Supers apartment. So it was the biggest apartment in the building. And 4 bedrooms, living room, dining room, high ceilings. We had 2 baths. So it was a big, big space, right? And yeah, I was laying there. I don't know if I was watching TV, but then he came and he laid on top of me. And I wasn't sure what was happening, but they tell you whenever you feel uncomfortable, it's something that's not so good, because where does it come from? How would I know to feel uncomfortable, you know? And I just remember, I think he started humping me. Yeah. So, you know, just little memories like that will pop up, you know? So there could have been different instances that I totally blocked out, but I knew that there was this uneasiness around him.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think I beat myself up a lot when I stayed at the house, because I knew that was happening, but you know, just being naive and kind of like, maybe that's not what it is, or just not thinking it through as a kid, you know, like.
Yeah, like, how would you know, like, any of this? You're a child, and like, this, none of that's supposed to happen. So, like, how do you even know how to speak about it, protect yourself? Like, it's not even fathomable at that point.
Yeah. The big event, the one that I remember the most, and I stayed because my parents The year prior, I had gone to Haiti with my grandmother. My grandmother took all of her grandkids at the time to Haiti. So though I had a good time, I didn't want to go back. And then the following year, my mother and father went back to Haiti, and my brother went with them. But I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay in New York for the summer. So I stayed at the family member's house. And I don't know when it started happening, but in the house, there was 2 bedrooms. And when you walked in the house, to the left was the kitchen, and through the kitchen, which I thought was a horrible makeup, through the kitchen was where the kids' room was. It's like, suppose a fire happened, like it normally happens in these situations. And the boys' room that they had was, through. In any event, and their room was on the right-hand side across from from the kids' room. And one night I woke up and he was on top of me. Like, I woke up to him being on top of me. Mind you, the boys shared a room, and there was I guess two twin-sized beds on either side of the wall, because it was a box formation room, square room. And enough to have 2 bedrooms, maybe a dresser. I don't think they had TVs or anything. And I was on one side, and his 2 boys were sleeping on the other side.
Like, and he was on top of you while
on top of me.
Yeah.
So and I felt so disrespected. And I'll tell you why. Because after he left, I couldn't understand why there was a rag on the dresser, like a hand towel.
Yeah.
And I was like, that motherfucker used it to wipe himself. That's what that was there for.
Yeah.
And what left me feeling so disrespected was that, because in my head I was like, he didn't even have he didn't even pull back up my panty. So after he left, I had to actually, from my ankles, bring up my panty. And it wasn't until I think I got married, when I would sleep, the sheets had to be tucked under my body so that I can feel instantly if somebody would come in and try.
That was your protection of, like,
that was my protection.
Yeah.
I had to tuck all the time. I always had to make sure that the sheets were tucked under. And so that was like that's the biggest memory that I have, but I know that there were things that happened.
So that's like do you have flashbacks of that randomly? Because I'll have flashbacks of events.
For sure. I'll have flashbacks. And it usually happened when during intercourse.
Oh, that's
rough.
Yeah.
Having to push those thoughts out.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother series of, like, sex after abuse. Like, how do you feel comfortable having sex after abuse? And do you even get to a point where you feel comfortable and actually enjoying sex after that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's still certain things that I can't. I can't go, I'll have to be like, okay, that type of. And my partners, I mean, I barely understood it. So, my ex-husband, and even in the current relationship that I'm in now, there's but so much that they understand.
Yeah, because they've never been through it, or they've never encountered someone who's been through it. How do they know how to handle that? But then, like, they also have their own egos and their own needs. Like, I had a partner who are you fucking kidding me? Like, what I've been through. What makes you even think that would be a turn on for me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, what?
Because it's not about you.
It's not. It's just because they want. So fucked up. So I used to always have these flashbacks, but I don't think it was during sex, but like during the day, brushing my teeth, I would have these flashbacks of him. I think that time. That's the time, like when my mom would go away, I could never sleep. Like I could never sleep at home because any creak of the floor, any twist of the doorknob, any sound, I knew he was coming, and I would just pretend I was sleeping.
I mean, can you imagine what that does to our bodies?
Yeah.
Like just always being at that, like it would, you wouldn't have to even say boo. And I'm like, I'm scared of everything. I'm just such a scary cat, always scared of the dark. It wasn't until my adulthood that I was able to kind of overcome that, where I could literally sleep in the room by myself in the dark. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't do it. And so, I think again, it's just, these up and down feelings that I'm experiencing is just as a result of that energy moving through me,
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to find a place to go.
Yeah.
Because it needs to go.
It needs to go. And normally our instinct is just to ignore it and it'll go.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way. And it definitely just doesn't work by just ignoring it.
Right.
You
It
know?
doesn't.
So I feel like us talking about it, us writing our book, and us helping others, I think helps.
It helps. I told you, I mean, this is week 4, and the 3 conversations that we've had already has been so enlightening, for me to like a whole outer body of experience, like we discussed before. Just being able to connect with my own words, watching it from a screen is a totally different effect.
Yeah.
And so I really thought in my head, because I was like, well, Oprah never had therapy. I can do this too. Like I can get over this. I can do this on my own, leaning on my own strength, thinking that I'm the superwoman that can defy nature.
No, you cannot defy nature at all. Nature will get through concrete.
What?
It will break that shit apart. It will break down a house. It will break everything down.
So I really had that belief, but with speaking to Regine was like, Oprah had a whole talk show. She didn't go through therapy because her talk show was her therapy. And I get it, I get it now. So just, day by day, and
week by week.
Week by week. And I found journals.
Oh my God.
My journals. There's more.
Oh my God. I love it.
So there's more. There's another one. Sunrise gifted this with me over the pandemic. Enjoy simple things. They have these little cute sayings on them, but I haven't gone through each of them in its entirety, just kind of skimming and jumping back and forth to look at the words. And I think there's a part of me that's a bit nervous to go through.
Of course. Of course.
It feels like, what it is? It feels like I'm living it every day now.
Yeah.
Whereas if I shared it with a friend, it wouldn't be months or sometimes even years until the next conversation happened, and it may be with a different person. So it's like retelling the same thing and just leaving it there and not doing anything with the information, this is what happened. Okay, next.
Yeah.
So just being in this space and thinking about it regularly, it brings up an angst in me at times. I haven't really been motivated to go to work. Like that's been a thing, and I think that I'm just connecting it to all of the things that I feel are not really serving me anymore.
Yeah.
Like clearly I need a job, I need to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta go. But at the same time, we are creators. And so there's nothing to say that I cannot create while I'm in this place, trying to make sure that everything is maintained. Knowing that it will open a different door for me if I just stay on the path and follow through.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing is, that's mine. It won't pass me. It's there. I just have to commit to it, you know?
Mhm.
I have to commit to me. That's what I need to commit to.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing when, for me, like me was never part of the equation of being important of my voice, my views, even though my friend told me, he's like, Linda, you always had a voice. And I was like, real? Like, to me, it was shocking when he's like, no, you were always like this. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I was never connected to my body or being present for me to realize all of these things, you know? So I need to connect to my old me, to the new me, and being more present in my body as opposed to autopilot. Let's do this, let's do that,
Yeah.
you know?
And just, you know, allowing, I feel like, you know, my conversations a lot of times are just an offshoot. And the reason why we're not present is because safety is more important. So we say this, the things that keep us safe.
Yeah.
And what I believe, the reason the memory becomes so shady is because it's like those things are not important. They're
Mhm.
not really who you are. They're not in alignment with who you really are. You're just doing and saying these things just to keep the peace,
Yeah.
you know?
So
And
like, and also your brain blacks out a lot of events because it's trying to save you. Like if you've gone through a life or death situation, you're not going to actually remember the actual
details.
full details of, you're just going to have flashes of things because your brain literally is blacking out to help protect you of something so horrific, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. And just with being honest, it's just like, you know, you go to work or you're in your, you know, your friend groups or whatever, you know, whatever setting that you may be in. I have this need to feel like I have to be polished, that I need to know, or I need them to know that I know what I'm talking about,
mhm.
you know, because if that doesn't hold, then, you know, like my whole gimmick is blown up.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's a big part of, again, not being present,
And trying to be perfect.
because you're trying to put on a show.
Mhm.
You're putting on a show, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, it's not an easy thing, and it just makes me think, like, I feel like I've missed so much of myself
Mhm.
during these years,
Yeah.
you know, not taking an accounting of the beautiful things that have happened, the things that are not so beautiful that still hold true to it being necessary for it to, like, all of these things that it's either forgotten or they just start to merge into one another.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Like everything, there's no compartmentalization that happens. Everything is just one big mosh.
Yeah.
So this has just been good and difficult at the same
Yeah,
time.
it totally is, and it's gonna be that way for a while, and it's okay. This is what's the process that we have to go through, because if you don't work through this, it's gonna come back again.
Yeah, for sure. Clearly. Because you couldn't tell me that I wasn't doing the work. I mean, I was doing the work, but I think I wrote somewhere, it's like, I'll get to a certain point. Okay, that's it. I'm
Mm,
not going past that. I'm not going past that. I can't.
yeah,
You know, like that
yeah,
other door that needs to be opened, I'm
yeah,
good
yeah,
because I opened up 5 doors already,
yeah.
you know? And growth is not linear, is what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in Sunrise's podcast, there would be times where I'd be like, oh, I've arrived. I'm good.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I
I feel
am
like
here.
I'm successful, I'm good, I've made the life that I should be, having and doing, and all is good. It's all good.
All is well.
Yeah.
And like I said to her, until it's not.
Yeah, I thought that, once I always had this mentality of like, all right, when I go to college, I'll be happy. When I get out the house, I'll be happy. When I get married, I'll be happy. When I
Yeah,
get
all
a
of these
job.
points outside of yourself.
Yeah, all the points I always thought when I get to that point, I'll be happy.
And then you get to the point and you're wanting more. You're
Yeah,
expecting.
like I've gotten all the points that society told me I should have, and I'm still not happy.
Yeah.
And I realized I even realized, which was another pivotal point, was that I would come home after doing a beautiful art show,
Mm.
still not be happy. I was like, are you fucking kidding? I sat there and I was like, what the, like,
Yeah.
I just curated a fucking beautiful art show that was completely packed. And
Yeah.
I'll come home alone, nobody's around. And I'm like, this is not working, because now I'm alone.
And that's a telltale sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? If you can be in your space by yourself with
And be
no
content.
distractions,
Yeah.
what happens in that room when nobody is around, where you don't have anything to attach yourself to?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing except
Panic sets in. I realized, like, even I didn't want to be alone. I
you
did
don't
not
want to
want to
sit
be
with your
alone.
thoughts.
No, I didn't want to. Yeah, like, I didn't want to be alone. And coming home from that, and or whenever, I would be alone, I realized I have to go do something. I need to plan something. I need to do like, I always was always keeping myself busy.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to deal with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not okay. Like, how do you do a beautiful show and everyone had a great time and you come home alone and not happy?
Because the beautiful show was a result of you pushing down those feelings,
Yeah.
in the
But
action.
also, like, I'm helping everybody else, but it wasn't fully helping me.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens, that we don't allow our own gifts to set in for ourselves. Other people benefit from them.
Because you're still giving. You're still giving
You're still
before
doing it.
your own cup is full. It's not spilling over yet, so you need to fill your cup fully until it spills over. And like Sunrise's mom told her, where only give from your saucer, don't give from your cup. When it spills over is when other people can have it.
Amen.
So
Man,
we are here weekly to fill our cup.
we are here weekly to fill our cups.
Literally our cup. Literally.
Yeah, it's been really great. I spoke to Gina a couple of times, and she's just so thrilled and so excited. And one of the things that came up for her, she texted me and was like, do you think if I put it out there that it might stop me from being hired? Like, did I share too much? And what I told her was that if someone watches this and they do not hire you as a result of seeing you in your whole authentic self, that's not the place you want to work.
Yeah.
It's just that, you want to be where you can feel accepted.
Yeah, you want to be where your authentic self is celebrated from past, present to future. Yeah.
So I was like, use that as a means to see who will hire you. Use it for that purpose, because the person who sees that and can connect and say, this is the kind of person that I want on my team. I want this person to be honest. I want to know that this person, has had some struggles and is able to share how she's able to, overcome you want to be able to connect with those types of people.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't think that there's anything out there that we can put out that should shame us or make us feel like it's not good enough.
Because it's all the truth.
Because it's all the truth.
So if it's the truth, then I feel like it's okay to put out there, because it is your truth.
Yeah.
That is what you felt at the moment. And why be ashamed of all the parts of you? Nobody is perfect. We've all done things that we should not do. Thank God, like, maybe a lot of that stuff is not recorded.
Like, I don't know, the kids these days, they don't have a chance.
That's what I mean. Like, I've done a lot of stupid shit as a kid that, that I should not have done.
And we get a pass because there's no footage.
Exactly. There's no footage unless I actually talk about it. But like,
right.
We've done a lot of stupid things. I've done all kinds of things, and I appreciate her being so honest with, no, this is who I am. And the beauty of that is realizing she's not perfect either.
I'm still working to be better.
Yeah, we're all trying to be better and evolved every day.
Hey, I think that there's room for that. I mean, once you start feeling that you've arrived, then that it's just like, what's the purpose of like what life is supposed to be?
Yeah, and one of the hardest things is that to be free of all of it. Like, we're judging ourselves so hard, and the fear of it so hard, that's why a lot of us are held back, because like we don't want to look a certain way outside, because we don't want people to judge us, but also we're judging ourselves so harshly.
Mhm.
You know, of like, I need to be perfect, I need to look this way, I need to look that way. Like,
Yeah, it's a beautiful experience, and I'm just, I'm taking it in every
yeah.
moment,
Mhm.
taking it in every moment, and just working on applying,
Yeah.
catching myself at the most difficult of times and doing it different. I shared with Regine, I said, she asked me, what do I want? What are the big things for 2023? And application, that's what that
Mhm.
intention is going to be this year, not just theorizing, but seeing myself in these theories and allowing myself to do that hard work. That can
Yeah.
be difficult, but it's just so rewarding at the end,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it leads to freedom.
It does lead to freedom, and just know that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some years, possibly too, and at least just gives you a jump start to it, because there was part of the conversation we have where she told me about David Goggins, and David Goggins said, record yourself,
Yeah,
listen to that shit every single day. And I
yeah,
was like, that's what we're doing here. Like, you
yeah,
don't just record and listen to your voice, you're seeing your face, your voice, your inflection,
everything.
everything. So this is like a, slap in the face of, here you are, here you go. So
This is what you said.
yeah, like I think one beautiful thing for you, like each week should be like some sort of action, so like now that you have your journals,
Mhm.
and like we don't need to solve any of the issues that we have as you're writing your book. Like, it can just be part of your journey. It doesn't have to be the whole journey of, here, I've arrived. No, this is my journey at this present time. This is the shit that I'm in, and this is my
Yeah,
process. So your first book could just literally be your journal process of it.
yeah,
As you read your pages, you can actually, whatever triggers the most feelings, just start
hmm
writing about what you felt about it. So like,
hmm
if you do include part of your journal, so you take a snapshot of it, print it out, and then write. Be like, this is the memory. What did I feel? And just start writing what you felt about it, because
yeah.
you're just working through it. It doesn't have to be like finished of whatever. It can just be like, this is what happened and this is how I feel today, then and now.
Yeah, I think that there's so much that comes up, as I feel the process is what will allow the book to take form,
Yeah.
because I haven't gone through the phase where I've read all of the journals and looked to see exactly which ones I want to be able to
Yeah.
have as a part of the book, so I think that the book will write itself.
It will. It will, and it has, and it's already started. What I
Yeah,
mean? It's already started. You probably have all of it done. You just have to
for
assemble it.
sure. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you and Regine got to speak about The Secret of Water. I'm
Yes,
surprised that you hadn't heard of it. It's so freaking amazing.
it's amazing. I mean, like, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, after watching that documentary, every time I boil water or I'm drinking, no, thank you, water. I love you, water.
Well, it's funny because people, they also said, like, you need to be still with your food and talk nicely to your food and thank you for your food, because I have a
Oh,
friend who always feels guilty about everything that she eats, and everything that she eats, she's worried about that it makes her fat. And I'm like,
do you know what
like,
energy she's putting in her
yeah, I'm
body?
like, no, like, you're telling your body everything you eat is making you fat,
Yeah,
and telling yourself like you're not good enough. And I'm like, no, like, just, you want to eat that cake, have a bite of that cake, enjoy
yeah.
it, enjoy that cake. Like,
And be in the moment. Enjoy the shit out of that cake.
yeah, enjoy that
Oh,
freaking cake,
be
and
there.
she usually eats like salad every single lunchtime, and I don't like salad unless it's like yummy with like honey pecans and beets, and like,
Cheese.
yeah, cheese. I want all of it on a salad. And I'll get like major lunches, because I'm like, food was my comfort.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't get any other comforts in the world at that time, I think food was my comfort. So it's still today, like food makes me happy, you know?
And
So
I read I don't know if it was a video or something that I read, but somebody, I forget the name, um, said that the worst thing that you can do, like be careful who you go to eat with, because it's like when people come to a dinner table, that prayer, it changes the energy of what you're putting into your body. And so if you have somebody who's complaining and who feels that the food is going to make them fat, it's not just their food, like that energy is going in the space that you're eating too. So
yeah,
you want to like, I know I want to be more cognizant of those things. We know that the word is flesh and it creates and it's powerful, right? We just have to be more responsible, not only with what we share with people, but what we're telling ourselves. The word is powerful. And this is why they say, even if you don't believe it, you want to have these affirmations, you want to see them posted somewhere so that because those words have energy, those letters, those simple letters on the on a post-it, once you start to say that to yourself,
yeah.
the chemistry of your body even changes.
Exactly. And I think a mood board was definitely a great idea because you had your vision of your home that you wanted to buy. That came true. And I've
Yeah,
also done that too, where I put mood boards and those things will come true. So,
yeah,
put up a word or image of something that will help you through this, a quote on the wall.
yeah.
So before you write these journals, just print something out that makes you feel good and start a mood board on your wall of the area that you write at.
Yeah. I one of the affirmations that I've been saying to myself is, your book is finished.
I love
You're
it.
finished.
I love it.
Like
Yeah.
there's, because the self-talk is the natural, the default
Yeah.
is, you won't finish this. Like this is
Yeah.
something you're
Yeah, you
starting.
might need to just print those words out. Your book is finished and post that on your wall.
Yeah, your book is finished.
It is finished. I mean, it was already in your journals. It's already in your
Yeah,
Google Docs. Same thing with me. Like it's all done. I just need to put it together.
yep, for
Yep.
sure.
All
For
right.
sure.
So I love it. Thank you so much. Week 4,
Yes.
we're
Me
down.
too, babe. Just pushing through. Until
Pushing
next time,
through. Just
right?
keep pushing through. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
And I just was so grateful in my early 20s when I started to do work that was helping me
Mhm.
to feel better.
Yeah.
And then that was a big part of why I wanted to do this work as well, right? To help people feel better. And then that evolved over time to really just empowering people with tools to create what they want in their lives, not just feel good, but like kind of be the captain of your own ship.
Yeah.
If this is what you want, here's how you can manifest it.
Exactly.
You don't
So
have to wait.
your experiences of your depression has given you the evolution and the tips and tricks to learn and go through this. And now you want to help other people. Like, listen, I got through this.
Yeah,
I can help you.
absolutely. Yeah, here's what
Now
works for
next
me.
question is, do you have a book?
What do you mean? Like,
Like, are you writing your book?
no. So book writing has never been a desire of mine,
Mhm.
but I'm not opposed to it. Like if
Yeah.
that comes to me as something, as another expression of how I want to give to the world,
Mhm.
I won't fight it.
Yeah.
You
So,
know?
like, I just find it fun. Like now that I do these, like I just find it fun because as I talk to people, I'll do like what Leslie and Sunrise will do, and she'll do the same thing to me. When as you're speaking, then I'll see something or I'll see an idea or a light or something. So as you're speaking, what will come to mind is like not just a regular book, but like a workbook journal where it helps you guide you to the place you want to be. So it's not just a regular book, but they
Yeah.
could jot down like today I feel this. Here, let me give you the tips on the next page of here are some tips that you can do to get out of this sad place. So from day 1, sad. This is what I'm feeling. What's happening? And then the next person, you give them tips, and then it'll be whatever. But it'd be like a workbook kind of thing that you can give your clients
Yeah.
to help them
It
on
sounds
the journey.
proactive.